Man, this story has gotten out of control. Arc Raiders, I think the sheer level of quality here just backhanded the entire live service space. It makes so many live service games look so cheap by comparison and shows just how little effort these people put in. I've seen so many people already crying out for this game to be Game of the Year, trying to make it a front runner, and I think these guys are waking up. I think they're realizing, wait a minute, this is what we could get versus what we've been given. No wonder these guys wanted to win over Expedition 33. In their eyes, this is their Expedition 33. You're not going to win, by the way. You need to go play that game, but I'm stunned. Both literally by wasps in the game, but also figuratively by just how insane of an experience they've delivered and the kind of game that they've made here. Permanent battle passes, earnable in-game currency. It has this perfect blend of hardcore and casual. They mix the best parts of Helldivers 2 and Escape from Tarkov. The way this game plays, the way it looks, the way it sounds, the way it performs. You're always bouncing between whether you can trust someone or no one at all, and you just can't put this game down. But a game this good, somebody's got to find something wrong with it. And of course, games media is out here and they're on the case, and they have a problem with the fact that this game uses generative AI, even though the generative AI that they use was voice actors that they paid to be able to use them for but that doesn't really matter to these guys. No, instead, what they're doing is they're leveraging their influence over the industry, trying to make these developers submit to their moral standards. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the monumental success of Arc Raiders to the absolute horror of games media. We're going to talk about my experience playing the game and what I think this game is going to do to the live service space. Man, what a game. But before that, a word from today's sponsor. As you guys might know, I've been hitting the gym 6 months in and not a day wasted, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without today's sponsor, Raycon. I use these every single day when I go to the gym, and they're one of the very few earbuds that actually fit in my ears and don't fall out mid-workout. They've got active noise cancellation so I can zone in, or awareness mode so when I'm outside I can actually hear what's going on around me, multi-point connectivity to make it easier to swap out between my phone and my laptop without missing a beat. Battery life 32 hours with the case. Quick charge 10 minutes will give you 90 minutes of playtime, and I've got mine in the Purple Clouds case showing off my more sensitive side. Raycon's quality rivals big audio brands, but at half the price. Over 3 million people are already in love with them, and with a 30-day happiness guarantee, there's no risk in trying them out. So if you're looking for a fresh start or maybe looking for gifts for this holiday season, go to buyraycon.com and use my code LegendaryDrops at checkout to get 30% off site-wide for their Black Friday and Cyber Monday sale. Man, this game's success is just crazy to me. Arc Raiders, developed by Embark Studios, a team of around 400 developers with only about 80 of them actually dedicated to working on the game, launched to a peak of over 350,000 concurrent players on Steam in its first week. And since then, the game has only continued to grow. It's now reached a new peak of over 460,000 players. According to Analea Analytics, it's already sold over 2.5 million copies, hit over 1 million daily active users, and generated more than $100 million in revenue. It is the highest rated multiplayer shooter of all time on OpenCritic. Oh, wait, no, it was the highest rated multiplayer shooter of all time until Eurogamer decided to tank it with a 4 out of 10, purely because the game uses AI-generated voiceovers. That single review dropped their score from a 94 to an 88 overnight, complete with a line that reads, "For Arc Raiders to ride the wave of human sociability all the way to the bank while also being so contemptuous of the thing that makes us social animals in its own workflow demonstrates a lack of artistic integrity that I find impossible to ignore." Man, I bet this guy is great at parties. Guys, I am so sick of this performative moralism. Every single time a game uses AI, these people act like it's a moral emergency. We're talking about NPCs with a few throwaway lines of dialogue that don't affect the game in a meaningful way. And on top of that, these voices came from real actors. Embark actually paid voice talent to train their model. Actual professionals were compensated for their work, but Eurogamer conveniently just glossed over that part because acknowledging it would ruin their little outrage narrative. Now, I'm going to pose a little moral quandary for these people. The text-to-speech model that they hate so much in Arc Raiders is for accessibility and inclusivity, allowing players to modulate their voices if they don't feel comfortable using their own voice. So, do you hate AI? Or do you hate inclusivity, Eurogamer? These guys don't care about ethics. What are we talking about here? They're just scared because they think it's replacing them. They know that they don't have the talent or the work to be able to hold on to their jobs, so they keep pushing this moral panic, hoping fear will do what their writing can't. Not like it's actually going to stop the success of this game. There were a lot of factors working against Embark and Arc Raiders outside of just rogue journalists. The first, and probably the biggest one, at least in my eyes, is that it's a live service game. Live service has been an obsession for a lot of these publishers, and they have absolutely flooded us with new releases, new seasons, and endless promises. And as I've said before, man, do these guys really want this money? I mean, if you look back at 2024, Helldivers 2, Call of Duty, To Kill the Justice League, Path of Exile 2, Concord, X-Defiant, Foamstar, Skull and Bones, Marvel Rivals, I could keep going on for a long time. With so many of these games still running and so many other games that are fighting for the same slice of time, money, and attention, success has become nearly impossible, especially for new IP like Arc Raiders. I mean, more than half of the games that I just named are either dead or close to it. The few that are still alive, Path of Exile 2, Helldivers 2, and Marvel Rivals. Path of Exile, I'm not really going to include that in this conversation because of how seasonal that game is played, but the other two, they're barely holding on. Both those games have lost over 90% of their players since launch. Calling live service a bloodbath right now, I think, would be putting it lightly. And I think Embark knows that better than anyone. Their last project, The Finals, was a fantastic game. It hit 10 million players in the first 2 weeks, but it just never caught on after that. Eventually, it just vanished from the charts entirely. Today, it averages at around 11,000 concurrent players on Steam, but I guess that didn't stop them from trying again. And man, did they ever try again. I think that Arc Raiders, top to bottom, might be the highest quality multiplayer shooter. Hell, maybe even the highest quality multiplayer game that I have played in recent memory. Strong words, I know, but man, this game is just so carefully crafted that you end up just getting completely lost in it. You don't even realize how all of these small details, all the mechanics and textures all come together to show just how soulful this game is. Arc Raiders, man, this game is alive, and it's alive in so many ways, from the gameplay to the environments to the player interactions, and I think it all starts with how this game actually feels to play. From the minute that I stepped into this game's world, I was paralyzed. I caught myself just panning the camera around, taking everything in. It's like the Ghost of Tsushima of multiplayer games. The way the wind blows through the trees, the dust kicks up, the lighting and shadows just breathe across the environment. Then you start moving and the controls feel so fluid, so natural that you just forget that you're even controlling the game. I was just stunned by this game the entire time. It's just so stunning to look at. You can't help but just stop and absorb everything that's in front of you. And personally, I'm really in love with the style here. This 70s sci-fi aesthetic, this is what Concord tried to pull off, but absolutely failed to. Now, once the visuals and controls finally settled in for me, the next thing that floored me, this probably floored a lot of other players, is this game's sound design. It is ridiculous how good this is. You can hear literally everything. The texture of the ground under your feet, the echo of your steps off of walls, the splashes of puddles, the crunch of sand, the metallic clang of you climbing up a ladder, even how sound will scatter through tunnels and alleys. It's constantly messing with your sense of space. Half the time, you can't tell if that noise is from you or from someone else, so you got to stop and listen. I am convinced that this game's sound design is the secret sauce here. Extraction shooters are naturally tense. It's you versus the world. Every single raid is carrying the risk of you losing hours of progress to one single mistake. So situational awareness becomes survival in these games. You're always listening for arc enemies, for the whine of an extraction elevator, for footsteps that are closing in. Games like this demand your attention, but Arc Raiders, man, does it reward it. The sound design here doesn't just help you, it traps you in this game. Every echo, every crunch, every whisper of movement just pulls you in deeper. And once you're in, man, this game is hard to put down. I've always been a sucker for good loot. I've played looter shooters for years, but I've always wanted a little bit more edge, that player versus player risk that makes every single decision feel like a gamble. I love the idea of spawning into a world with nothing, scraping together whatever you can find, feeling that little rush when you find something rare, and knowing that you could lose it all at any given moment. Fighting off enemies, taking down bosses with your friends, pushing your luck for just one more run. It is that perfect mix of greed and survival. And Arc Raiders, man, these guys really nailed the balance here. It's an extraction shooter at its core. You want to find great stuff, keep it, get out alive, and not lose it to somebody else who wants it just as bad as you. That alone is going to create a lot of tension, but these guys layer it so perfectly. The Arc themselves, regardless of size, are a constant threat. A single popper exploding near you can leave you one shot from death. A Rocketeer camping an extraction point, well, that's going to stop you and make you plan your approach, knowing that one wrong move could just light up the entire area. And because the sound design in this game is so sharp, the last thing that you want to do is pull the trigger unless you have to, because one gunshot will give away your position to every player in earshot. Now, what I find wild here is how that tension bleeds into how people are actually playing this game. The sound design is so sharp, the world feels so real that you start reacting like you're actually there. You flinch, you freeze, you listen. You start to realize then that there's a lot of other people that are doing the exact same thing. And as crazy as this might sound, I think that that sound design and that tension and that constant awareness is exactly what's given Arc Raiders its biggest strength and arguably what's been driving a lot of its virality. And that's this game's community and how social this game is. Most players wouldn't normally bother throwing on a headset when they go to play a game. But in this game, you kind of have to. Between the stakes of every single match and the way the sound design practically just demands your attention, there's no way that you're not tuned in to this world, to the people that are in it, and most importantly, into proximity chat. Even when you're playing solo, something happens, you start talking. You realize you're in a bad spot. Hopefully the other guy doesn't realize you're in a bad spot, and you're going to try to talk your way out of it. You parlay for loot, you meet somebody who knows about a shortcut or a hidden stash. Maybe you guys are on the same quest, and suddenly two complete strangers are working together in a world that is trying to kill them both. The Ark are still out there. Other players are still out there waiting to ambush you, but for a few minutes, there's trust, a fragile, temporary kind of trust that's built on mutual survival, and I just find it so damn cool about this game. Something I discovered and I find so fascinating is the contrast between PvE and PvP and how it's actually driving cooperation, especially in solo play. The Ark are so dangerous, so overwhelming at times that they actually motivate solo players to just team up whenever they can, but there's always that lingering threat, that air of betrayal, the possibility that the guy next to you could just turn on you at any given moment. It fits perfectly into this game's world. You're not some character just running around doing missions for loot. You're one of the last remnants of humanity, scraping by to survive, doing whatever it takes to stay alive. You can see every kind of player in this world, and that is just so cool to me. There's the PvP hunters, the clueless looters, the opportunists, the friendly scavengers, those that are trying to make friends, the ones that never will, and somehow it all just works. To the irony of that Eurogamer article, this game just feels so deeply human to me. There's been this disconnect in modern multiplayer. A lot of you guys have probably already noticed this, but a lot of these games have quietly trained us to play alone, even when we're surrounded by other people. Private voice chats, solo-friendly systems, all these different attempts to make games more accessible or inclusive, yet somehow making us more isolated. We don't talk to each other anymore. We queue, we mute, we play, we leave, but Arc Raiders, they flip that entirely. It gives you a reason to talk, to trust, to negotiate, to trick, to connive. It reminds you that games used to be social by nature. Here, every single match feels so unpredictable and personal. It's its own little adventure shaped by whoever you meet and whatever choices you're going to make along the way. And none of this stuff is scripted. And that is just so crazy to me. It's all just born out of the game's design, its atmosphere, and the way it traps you in its world long enough to think about the other players that you're sharing it with.
Meow.
Meow. That. Look at me.
I am so twisted over that review. I almost made an entire video just on that subject alone because I think it's seriously messed up that you can have a game that is this well loved and this well recognized and have somebody come out of the wings and drop that review score from a 94 to an 88 overnight just because they disagree with the tool that was used. A tool, by the way, that they had paid voice actors that agreed to train a text-to-speech model that they have in-house. It's just... And also, you know what it really is? They're mad because the game is popular. They're mad that people actually like it and that people are supporting it, regardless of the fact that there was any type of AI that was used, regardless of the fact that most games have used AI since their induction. There's all kinds of different models and different tools that these guys have used over the years, but this is something that you could have talked about in an editorial, like a lot of other writers did, but they chose not to, and I just find that incredibly unprofessional. I saw a lot of people that were going and pointing out that the same writer had scored Concord higher. The funny thing is, the same writer scored the finals higher. They scored the finals a 3 out of 5, and they criticized it for the exact same thing, but apparently their criticisms didn't work last time, so they came back and doubled down this time, or at least that's the way it looks like to me. It's just so gross. Arc Raiders, this game I think embarrasses a lot of other games just by contrast. This is a live service game. This is live service the way that it's supposed to be, a game that actually feels alive. This is not me playing the same game, doing the same things, completing this checklist of tasks that you have given me to keep me on a hamster wheel that you designed to drain me of my time and money. No, I can do whatever I want in this game. I can play this game however I want to. I can create my own quests or my own objectives, and everything that I earn in the game is just a byproduct of me enjoying myself and having fun playing with other players. That I don't really think you find an experience like this anywhere else. The wide variety of experiences that you can have in this game. That's the thing that just blows my mind. Because There's some games where I am bloodthirsty and people absolutely hate me. There are other times where I'm an absolute coward. I don't want to have anything to do with other players. And there's other times where I am a complete saint. You know, the other night I was playing and I heard a guy in the hallway that was looting something, and I slid across the hallway with a Torrente, and that gun is so loud in hallways. And I scared the shit out of this dude. He yelps out saying that he almost fell out of his seat. We start joking around. I res him. I give him a blueprint. I help him on a quest that he was on. You just don't find an experience like that anywhere else. It's just so cool. And those are those, you know, once in a game, once in a lifetime exchanges. You'll never see that person again. That kind of sociability just doesn't exist in a lot of other games. You know, the crazy part is that none of this is by accident. This game wasn't made fun just because the players made it that way. No, it's because Embark made it that way. If it wasn't this stable or optimized, if they didn't give players the freedom, the space to be able to play the game instead of control them, then this game would have never worked. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. I'm sorry, I am still stuck on how high quality of a game this is. This is a quadruple A production in my eyes. Sorry, Ubisoft. If you just sit down and look at all the small details, you see how every single piece adds up to set the stage for players. Nearly every single weapon in this game is just a mangled collection of scavenged parts that are barely holding themselves together. Seeds have become a rare currency because people live underground. Anything that is energy-based is built from the remains of Ark because, well, humanity has no infrastructure left. There is just so much painstaking detail here that you can feel how much effort went into its creation, and it shows in every inch of this game. By contrast, look at almost any other live service game and you can see how factory stamped, repetitive, and creatively hollow the space has become. There's almost nothing new anymore. The biggest successes that we see are usually reskins or reheated versions of older games. This kind of master-crafted design is something that we barely see maybe once or twice a year from indies, but almost never from multiplayer. I think that Arc Raiders has completely exposed just how little effort and attention to detail most of the industry is putting in and how little they value your time and money. Something that I think proves this is Unreal Engine 5. This engine has been a curse for this industry. Sure, the screenshots look incredible, but man, in motion, it has been an absolute disaster. Artifacting, stuttering, broken performance, you name it. It's had just about every issue out there. I mean, Black Myth Wukong, as much as I love that game, it was a nightmare to run. It's literally become a benchmark game because of how insane the system requirements are. For years, we have been told that Unreal Engine 5 itself is the problem, that it's too demanding, too unstable, but then Arc Raiders comes along, built on the same foundation, and runs beautifully even on lower-end rigs. Now, not long ago, Tim Sweeney, CEO of Epic, said that Unreal Engine 5 isn't the issue. And a lot of people, I think, just kind of brushed him off because obviously it's his engine. He's not going to dog it or talk shit about it. But he had said that developers just aren't optimizing their games or doing proper QA before release. And here comes Embark proving him right. Sure, they're using their own custom branch without Lumen or Nanite, but guys, that's called optimization. That's picking the right tools for your audience. Running Unreal Engine 5 with every single switch flipped on is not innovation. That's laziness in my eyes. You could handcraft your lighting, or you could just get Lumen to do it for you. You could manage your own textures, or you could just dump everything into Nanite and hope for the best. This is what it looks like when you put real effort in. This is what you do when you're actually thinking about your players. This is what it means to meet your players where they are. When you actually care about your audience, you're going to torture yourself over the details. You're going to obsess over performance, over accessibility, how it feels on every single piece of hardware that somebody might play it on. And that obsession has bled through every inch of Arc Raiders, and it even fixed all of the issues that we've had with Unreal Engine 5. You can feel it in the design of this game. You can feel it in the way that it performs. And I think that you can feel it in how it captures the widest audience possible without sacrificing any of its depth. Now, I've always held the stance that extraction shooters are not the future of live service. They're not the next big thing after Battle Royale. It's just not going to happen, okay? There's just way too much built-in resistance for casual players, and you need casual players if you want your game to be anything more than niche. In these games, you can lose everything. A bad night, a few bad runs, you could erase hours or even weeks of progress. For anybody that can only play 1 or 2 nights a week, that's done. It's brutal. You're not going to be able to come back from it. Ultimately, it's going to stop a lot of people from even playing a lot of these games. Look at Escape from Tarkov. It has been successful, sure, but its player base is tiny in comparison to a lot of these other live service games. The only way that you're going to be able to close that gap is by removing resistance and making it easier, safer, and more accessible. And I think that completely undermines what makes a lot of these games work. You need that risk. You need to be able to lose everything sometimes. The rarity, the tension, the possibility of being ambushed. All these things are ingredients that make extraction shooters so rewarding. Remove any of that, and you're just going to remove the soul of the genre. Now, I've said that publicly for the last 2 years, but I also said that if any game could bridge that gap, it would be Arc Raiders, because I'd actually played the game in a couple of playtests, and turns out I was right. They have made so many smart quality of life changes that respect players' time without compromising the experience, and they did it all by just giving players more agency. This game is just so well designed. Just as an example, having an in-game map as detailed as it is in Arc Raiders means that players can instantly orient themselves. They can see where the loot tiers are. They can know exactly where they need to go to get things that they're looking for. They can find safer paths, or they can avoid hotspots if they're just trying to complete quests. And those quests that they're on aren't filler, they're actually a subtle tutorial. Every single NPC is sending you into a different zone, pushing you across that map until you start recognizing landmarks and routes of your own. By the time that you're done with all of these quests, you don't even need the map anymore. You just know where you are and know where everything is. Then they took it all further with how they did matchmaking and map events and how all of that is structured. Day raids, night raids, solos, squad queues, all of these things feel so distinct. Solo runs are just perfect for gearing up. Night raids are absolute chaos. And the boss encounters, these things are wild. Sometimes it's groups of people that are working together to try to take one down. Other times it's betrayal the second that boss drops. It's so crazy to me how these guys pulled it off. But even the loot in Arc Raiders somehow strikes the perfect balance. It's both inconsequential yet incredibly valuable at the same time. Rare weapons, blueprints, and parts are hard to find. You definitely want them, but I've never really felt outmatched if I didn't have access to them. The balance here is damn near perfect. Yeah, the anvil and the venator are absolutely busted, but I've won and lost plenty of fights with completely different loadouts. No matter what someone else is using, personal skill and opportunity are going to decide the gunfight more than gear ever will. You want the best stuff, sure, but I really don't think you need it. Then they top this all off with their take on Tarkov scav runs, the free loadouts, and I just think this is absolutely genius. There's no cooldown, no limitation. You just hop in with a small inventory, some meds, and a low-tier gun. It is the perfect pressure valve for this genre. You can use it to rebuild after a bad night, sell off your haul and restock, and then play with your friends later, or you can just jump in and have some fun without sweating over your losses. This is just so perfect for casual players and for hardcore players just the same. This is what I mean when I say that developers need to share the perspective of the players and know that there's going to be a wide variety of people that are going to play these games differently. Arc Raiders feels like it was made by people who care about how the game actually plays rather than how much the game can take from you. Every single system feels honest. Every detail feels considered. It strikes this impossible balance between fun and fairness in a genre that is supposed to be unfair. You can tell that this game was made by people who wanted to make something fun without forgetting what kind of game that they were making. And of course, all of this is going to extend to how this game was monetized. I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but the monetization in Arc Raiders doesn't really feel like it's a part of the experience at all. It's there, but it's not really breathing down your neck. The gameplay loops do not revolve around it. I'm not constantly getting pop-ups mid-match telling me to go buy something, and I'm not being constantly reminded of where my battle pass progression is. It's the first live service game where the economy feels like it's entirely separate from the gameplay. They made the monetization a feature of the game, not the foundation it's built on, and man, do I appreciate that. On launch, the game shipped with a free premium raider deck. Basically, this is their take on a battle pass. You can earn everything just by playing, and the premium currency that you collect can be used to be able to buy cosmetic bundles. They've already said that they're going to release new premium raider decks down the road and more ways to earn in-game currency, similar to Helldivers 2 with their war bonds, but again, all this is optional. The more you play, the more you're going to earn, and if you don't have time, you can still buy in without feeling punished for skipping a week because it's always going to be there. It's a system that's built on fairness, not on FOMO. And I think that's what makes this model so powerful. It rewards consistency without demanding loyalty. It respects players' time without treating us like we're just clocking in. You can feel that honesty running through all of the rest of Arc Raiders. The idea that players should be rewarded for playing the game, not paying extra to be able to avoid it. And honestly, that's what blows my mind with Arc Raiders. It proves that live service does not have to mean manipulation. It doesn't have to mean burnout or endless chores disguised as content. It just takes a studio willing to meet players halfway, to respect their time, their hardware, and their intelligence. Embark did everything that the industry keeps saying is impossible. They made a fair, balanced, social, live service game that doesn't treat you like a target. And I think that's what makes this game matter so much to me. It's not because it's some miracle hit, but it just exposes how lazy and cynical the rest of this space has become. Every single excuse, from performance to monetization to player retention, all that dies the second that you boot up this game. This is proof that it can be done right, and now players know the difference. I am so happy to see more developers adopting the Helldivers 2 pricing and Battle Pass, the permanent Battle Pass. Now, I realize that there's a lot of conflicting opinions when it comes to a live service game charging $40. I understand where you're coming from, but from my perspective, as long as it's being done with the right intentions, this takes a lot of weight off of their shoulders. It means that they can collect their development costs, and it makes them a lot less desperate for our money, at least immediately, and also likely down the road. It gives them way more options for how they monetize the game going into the future. They could choose to expand these crazy things that we used to get back in the day in first-person shooters called expansions. You guys remember that? Map packs and things of that nature? They could do that kind of thing later on if they wanted to, instead of just trying to monetize, pay for power, all these other different things. And they made the monetization in this game a feature, not the focus, and that's something that I appreciate. And also, battle passes should just be permanent. We all know exactly what you guys are trying to do by not making it. You just want to make sure people are logging in every single day. It's sunk cost fallacy. I spent $25 on something. I need to get all my value out of it. I got to play every single day, otherwise it's going to go away. I get why you do it. I hate that you do it. This is the way it should be done. Simple as that. I think that there's a lot to say when it comes to how social this game is. And I think this is something that a lot of other developers really need to pay attention to right now. And I see a lot of parallels in this game's success to Helldivers 2. And I think that there is a genuine desire from players and just from gaming communities overall to feel like you're actually a part of a community, to be social with other players. People want more games that put them in social situations. I think that's the case. I think we've been withdrawn for so long that people crave it right now. And that genuine desire is going to make a lot of games really successful if those games pander to that. So if you look at this game and look at how they gave players the opportunity to be able to interact with one another, if you emulate that somehow, you're going to find success. I think it's really disappointing that this game is just going to get dragged into the whole AI debate more than anything else, because there's so many social benefits for a game like this. This game is just so fair and freeing for anybody of literally any skill level or how much time they actually have to be able to commit to something like this. I think this is the blueprint for live service games going forward, not only just with its quality, but just every aspect of the game, the attention to detail, everything that they did. It's crazy to see a game that's actually made in the live service space, in the multiplayer space, by people that genuinely give a shit. I think this one is going to be a wake-up call for players more than the industry. I think a lot of these multiplayer gamers are going to be like, man, dude, how are you going to go and play Call of Duty after playing this game and not feel like you're being ripped off? That's my question for a lot of people, because I wouldn't be able to. I'd be like, man, this is what you're selling me? And you're also charging me $70 for this game? Man, there's something wrong with this situation. And I think that contrast really hasn't existed in this space. It hasn't been in this space for a long time, because a lot of these live service games, I don't think they've really been competing with one another. They've just been doing their best to try to nail down the audience that they have financially more than anything else. And a game like this can really disrupt that. A game like this can make the casual people, the silent audience that's out there, not so silent anymore. At least that's what I hope happens. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment down below. Let me know how you guys like the game. What do you guys think about it? What are some things you guys hope the game does in the future? Are you guys really that upset about the game using AI? I'm interested to see what other people's opinion on it is. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitch. Follow me on Kick. I got to work and make sure that I can actually get that working. I did the triple stream, and it was rough. I had all kinds of problems, so I got to call tech support. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Family, 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 family.